Welcome into Locked On Knicks. Alex Wolf here. No Gavin today, but I am rejoined by the former host of Locked On Knicks, James Marceda. Super excited to have him back to continue going through your mailbag questions for this month. On today's episode, we talk about what player the Knicks could maybe target next if they're able to pull off a Donovan Mitchell trade. Then we talk about a huge debate between four fan favorite handheld food options, burgers, hot dogs, burritos, and tacos. Which ones are the best? And then we finish off with some more discussions, including what the Knicks should do as far as valuing their 2023 picks as they move forward in trade negotiations versus some of their other picks. So that's all coming up next on Locked On Knicks.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome into Locked On Knicks. I want to thank you guys for always making Locked On Knicks your first listen, whether you're checking us out on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, taking in the sights and the sounds all at once. I am Alex Wolf. I'm editor-in-chief of Knicks site, The Strickland, which you can find at thestrick.land. And as I said in the intro, we've got some great stuff to get into today. Myself and former host of Locked On Knicks, James Marceda. So I won't hold it up any further. I'll just get right into the discussion. But I think we can move to our next question. Another Donovan Mitchell. Go figure. There's a lot of Donovan Mitchell going around these days. This one comes from FC at Fraser D. Coleman on Twitter, who says, last year we wanted Donovan and he opted to sign a max deal with Utah. A year later, he wants to be traded to New York. This year, another set of Knicks wish list players, Beal, Levine, and Zion, signed max deals. Spida aside, who asked to be traded to New York in 2023, and why is it Zion? A little bit of a loaded question.
I see what you did there.
But who do you think out of those three? I kind of feel like
Zion for sure.
Yeah, because if this is under the assumption the Knicks get Mitchell, why would they be in the market then for Beal or Levine, who basically played the same position the same exact way?
And obviously, it's been reported to death. Obviously, Zion is friends with RJ Barrett, and what was reported was that he wanted to go to the Knicks. When he actually got drafted. Who knows if that's true? But there's like a little bit of smoke there, and if any of those three guys would, I think, try to get here, my money would be on him. Who knows though? I don't know how to read Zion because he's like just very uncomfortable in the press. You can tell he's kind of like a shy guy, not on the court, obviously. But when he talks, he's been in the league a few years now. He just seems very uncomfortable, which I'm not making fun of him. It's fine. Like lots of people, it's not their vibe. But I can't like read him. Even when he's like, yeah, I want to be here. And I feel like he's like sweating bullets lying. But he kind of, if you watch him enough, like he sort of seems that way no matter what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in his head.
Yeah, that goes back a long time with Zion, right? Like even before the draft or even like during his one season at Duke with RJ, like I still remember it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Like it was when they were at MSG, if I remember correctly, and like Zion mania was in full effect. Like everybody was nuts over Zion, being like, oh my God, I can't believe we missed this guy and didn't have him as like the next LeBron coming into this college season. Like this kid's crazy, whatever. And so everybody always wanted to talk to him. And, they went up to him and they're like, what's it like having, Duke be your team or whatever? And he like immediately without pausing was like, no, I think it's RJ's team. But RJ, what do you think about that? Or like, RJ, what do you think about going to the Knicks? I don't know. Yeah. He just wanted to deflect right away. And that's, he is a little bit hard to read. I think, probably if you gave truth serum and were like, would you rather be playing with the Knicks right now? Or would you rather be playing with the Pelicans? He'd be like, the Knicks, obviously. But, because he just would want to play with his best friend in RJ, I think. But as it stands, it's going to be a difficult situation. You know what I mean? I think with him more so than others, like it's going to partly depend on what contract RJ gets because there is a limit. There's that weird NBA rule where there's a limit to how
extensions.
Exactly. Yeah. To how many rookie max extension players you can have on the team. And I think it's only one at a time. So if RJ
which has
gets
been delighting me for the Brooklyn Nets trade pursuits of KD and Kyrie. Like anyone they could potentially be a partner with, they can't because they already have what's his face, the guy who can't shoot,
Ben Simmons. That one.
Ben Simmons. But it's so much funnier than it's him. Like, it's such like
he's the guy holding
bust.
everything.
He's like one of the weirdest busts ever.
Yeah.
Who like did come into the league, you know, obviously with the injury, but then like really excellent skills, and then just sort of like had a meltdown.
It's
different story.
It is a different story. Although I am really intrigued to see how Simmons is going to work out ultimately in his career, or if he even like wants to play basketball anymore, because that seems potential. But anyway, that's a whole different.
I have heard nothing but less than complimentary things about Ben Simmons. I'll leave it at that. I don't think he's got that screwed on straight. Yeah,
James Bond.
I know.
NBA 2K insider James Marceda said.
Don't say my player after I say that.
Anyway,
not really into my job at all.
At any rate, to get back to the overall spirit of the question, like I don't know for sure if I see Zion asking his way to the Knicks like as soon as next year. I think that would be a couple years down the line. I think if you want to talk about guys that would be even more stubborn to make a deal happen than like Danny Ainge is being with Donovan Mitchell right now, it would be David Griffin with Zion Williamson, like because he's going to be like, absolutely not. Like I've got him locked in.
Thinks he's the greatest GM of all time.
Yeah, definitely not going to trade his 20-something-year-old franchise cornerstone that easily. So we'll see what happens.
I do know though, especially if Donovan comes and the Garden's just like on fire, even if they're not like true championship contenders, like that's going to, you know.
There's going to be instant rumor heat ups, especially if they keep enough like powder in the barrel after the Mitchell trade to make another trade. There's going to instantly, if they start off well this year, be talk of like, all right, well, who's going to be the finishing piece to add to the Knicks? Like, and how are they going to do it? Because now they're clearly good. Yeah. It's going to feel very much
won't it be a huge failure if Leon Rose was brought here for his connections, can't bring in a third star?
If Leon Rose can't bring literally any player in the NBA to the Knicks at any given time for almost no money and or compensation, what kind of GM even is he? No, but like it's going to get loud in the same way that like things got loud when the Amari Knicks were doing good after he signed, and it was like, all right, like what's next? And then of course it was Melo.
That was so happened. Much fun. That brief moment when he scored like 30 points, 10 games in a row or whatever it was.
Yes, set the franchise record, the golden era, really. If we're being honest,
if we're 12 years old,
if we're 12, I was like in my early 20s. It was like the best days of my life. All right, I'll be right back in with James, and we'll get into an age-old debate between 4 handheld foods. What's better between tacos, burritos, hot dogs, and burgers? But first, I got to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have you covered. And I got to say, taking a look at the lines for tonight, the Mets are going to be back in action. And with Max Scherzer on the hill, they are 1.5-run favorites over the Padres at home. I advised betting on the Mets the last time that Scherzer was on the mound, and that proved to be sound advice. I would probably do that again. So bet on the Mets because, you know, I'm not at all biased. I'm not a huge Mets fan. You should just do it because I say so. So head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right. Anyway, so let's move to another question here. This is more food questions, James. I made sure to pull all these ones because
I am a noted fat ass and enjoyer of food.
noted food connoisseur. James Marceda over here, the master of salting the pasta water, but not garlic powdering it. And this question comes from Alex Smiley Face at Anxious and One on Twitter. Alex wants to know, rank the following: tacos, burgers, hot dogs, and burritos. And Alex notes this is the most Knicks-related question I have the guts to ask with my anxiety about a Mitchell trade through the roof. So totally with you, Alex. It's good to talk about something different, like ranking 4 iconic handheld meat stuffed, generally, foods here. So, James, I will toss it to you first for this monumental. Should we go back and forth on 1-1, or should we go 4-1, going back and forth? Maybe that's the way to do it. What's your number 4?
All right. This is, I'm willing to, because I'm the king of nuance, I'm willing to talk through this and change my mind, but I'll give you my, initial instinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say this is, which goes against my instinct as a takesman to just be as loud and obnoxious as possible and insist that I'm right no matter what. But I'm going to say number 4 is burritos.
Okay. All right. What's your rationale?
I think I need to go from the top down in order to give my rationale, because it's how they relate to the other one. So it's like spoiler alert. To me, a burrito.
All right, fine. Just do them all at once. Do them all at once,
Right,
and then we can start talking through our rationale.
All right. Yeah. I appreciate what you're trying to do here with the showmanship, but I think this might be another conversation as well. Okay, so I think he's got it in order. I would go tacos, burgers, hot dogs, burritos, with the caveat that they're all wonderful. Like I'm not, none of these are bad. To me, a burrito is just like an enormous taco. Like a taco, I can eat like 10 if I want to have to be as stuffed and like about to puke as I would be if I ate a burrito, but I don't have to. And I feel like you get more like just perfect bites with the burrito, with the taco. You get like 2, 3 perfect bites. They come in. You can also like have so many different ones. Like you can have like 3 different tacos. You're getting all these different flavors. Burgers, I think there's less variety in how they taste, although you can obviously do different, toppings and whatever, and different cheeses and all that stuff. But these days, I'm more, my favorite burger is a double smash burger. Smash burgers are very trendy, but I think for good reason. You get all that Maillard reaction from the browned meat, and you can still cook them to kind of like a medium. You get like 2. Like you get a double smash burger. That to me is like my favorite way to eat a burger at the moment. Hot dogs, wonderful. I love a hot dog. You can also put a surprising amount of stuff on hot dogs. Not just like, if it's normal, I'm a ketchup and mustard guy, which I know some people think like ketchup is disgusting on a hot dog. I personally don't. I like them both, but you could put like chili cheese on it. You could put kimchi. You could put like anything you could think really on a hot dog. And then a burrito, like burritos are great too. I love a breakfast burrito. I don't know that I've had a good breakfast taco. No, I have. That's a lie. I've had lots.
I make breakfast tacos at home all the time. Yeah.
I take that back.
Instant.
Sometimes I take it back. Well, there's something. I think you could have like more ingredients probably in a burrito, and so that's like kind of nice. But in tacos, I've had tacos had a real moment on the internet, and I was like, whatever. I feel like it was the same time when like bacon was, bacon on everything is the best thing in the world. Yeah, bacon's good, but like, shut up. It's so trendy. Go get a mustache tattoo on your finger. But moving out to the West Coast, where like I'm in in California, it's just like there's like literally, like I swear to God, there's like 100 amazing like taco joints within like a 2-mile radius of me, and so you can try a different one every day, and they're all incredible. And so I've been on a big taco kick recently, and so I'm putting them. Pizza's not in here. That's a big. I'm not even going to touch that right now. I'm just going to leave this at the 4. But yeah, tacos. I'm not saying tacos my favorite like junk food. I don't know if I believe that, but of this list, I'm putting it number 1. I'm curious what you think. You've been very. I can't read if you're like hating what I'm saying or agreeing with me. I feel like I'm about to get some serious pushback though.
Nope. Unfortunately, I'm 100% with you. That's my list.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll just give my justifications real quick. So I'm with you with the tacos and burritos thing. I'll add another layer to that discussion, which is if I go to like a Mexican place for the first time, there's so many amazing Mexican flavors that you can get. that, and especially now you get these like fusion taco joints too that make like, there's one by me that makes like a Nashville hot chicken taco, or like
Sure, yeah.
like a Thai cauliflower taco or what, you know what I mean? Like there's all this crazy crap that you can get and put it in a taco. And that's not to say you couldn't put that same stuff in a burrito, but if you go to a Mexican restaurant, or, you know, just we'll say a Mexican fusion restaurant, whatever you wind up going to, you want to try like one of everything, because you look at the menu and you're like, oh my God, this all sounds so good. And so I can go in and very comfortably order like 3 tacos and get one different one for each thing. So I can try like a bunch of different flavors. Whereas, or even if I'm feeling like super hungry, get like a 4th. But you can't go in and order like 3 burritos or like, just give me like the variety burrito. Like right. I want to get like
stuff half of it with this
and the other half with the other thing.
The thing with the burritos, I'm going to eat the whole thing. I'm gonna eat the whole thing, and I'm gonna feel uncomfortable afterward. Like,
exactly.
So, is that a me problem? A little bit, but I'm also blaming the burrito. It wants you to eat it in the sitting.
Why not blame the burrito? But also, there's another point that you brought up about burritos too. Not to slander burritos, because I do still love them. Like these,
I will mess up a burrito right now. Trust me.
I'll eat a burrito right now on this thing. I will eat a burrito flavored Built Bar right now. No, I'm kidding.
Coconut, baby.
But the thing that you said about the perfect bite too, I feel like is harder to get with a burrito, because like say you go to Chipotle, for example, they don't mix them up, which is fine. I kind of enjoy that to a degree about a Chipotle burrito. But if you ever want to get like your carnitas, your rice, your guac, your pico, your, you know, spicy salsa, whatever, all in one bite, you got to like unhinge your jaw to try to get that one bite that has everything in it.
And you're constantly like reorienting it. You're like, wait, I thought I folded it in a way where the rice was at the bottom and I had it, but then like halfway through it changes. And you're like rotating. You're like, wait, where is the stuff? Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's more work. A taco is simpler. You just like wolf that thing down and it's delicious. And then, you know, by virtue of tacos and burritos being so similar, that's why burritos end up at the bottom here, because the other two are giving me something different. I'm a huge burger guy. I'm actually somewhat surprised I'm not putting burgers number 1 here, but the more I was thinking about it, I was like, tacos, you could just, there's so many more varieties. Like a burger, even if it's like a turkey burger versus a beef burger, it's still a burger ultimately.
Right.
And you can put all kinds of cool stuff on it. Like
I've had burgers with like pesto and like sun-dried tomatoes and stuff. You know, I've had like stuff like that, and like it's good, you know, but it's still, you've got that beef patty, which well, if it's done well, is amazing, and you know, an incredible meal, but it makes it more samey.
Exactly. But I love burgers to death. I would eat a like 5 burgers on the podcast right now if I had some in front of me.
Do you have a favorite taco filling, like a protein? Or
I've become a huge so I think it's just like pork in general is my favorite. I've really started to like al pastor tacos a lot. The ones that they cook on the spit and they just like
the real al pastor.
Like the real deal. Like that's so good if you find a place that does that. Other than that, I just love like a good carnitas with like just the carnitas down and then like fresh cilantro and like raw onion on it with like a little salsa on top. Delicious.
And a true carnitas too. Like there's no bad carnitas, but like the good carnitas like is like the people who like cook the whole pig and they have a little bit from like all parts of the pig, and like some of it's crunchy and some of it, you know, you get that. My favorite taco meat is actually lengua.
I had lengua recently, like for the first time, and I really enjoyed it.
If it's done well, it's like incredibly tender and very flavorful and all that. I'll make a quick case for hot dogs too. Hot dogs are just, I mean, they catch a lot of hate because you don't really know what's in them and they're kind of gross in that respect, but they're so freaking delicious. Like if you're willing to put aside, like, I don't know what's inside this thing, it's really delicious. And like a hot dog, honestly, this is maybe a hot take. I like them better in a pan than like grilled on a grill. Cause I like the like caramelization better on the outside, but like you get more surface area touching the pan.
So like a nicely cooked hot dog like that with like, I don't know, like chili.
That's why like smash burgers are so good, because it touches the whole pan. It's not just like the stripes on the grill.
Exactly. So I'm with it. I love hot dogs, so I will go bat for hot dogs all day. But we could probably keep talking about these four things. It's
I could go for hours. Yeah,
we could go for hours, but we're going to instead move to our next question here. This comes from Mick Lynch Stan account at Jax365 on Twitter, who previously asked you to do your famous old intro. But Jax wants to know. So I think the Knicks should not trade theirs and Dallas's picks in 2023 to restock the roster. Is that the right thing to do? I guess depends on the definition, right, of what Jax is specifically.
I don't understand the question. They should not trade their and Dallas's pick in 23.
I guess this is maybe like keeping both like the Knicks and Dallas's pick off of a Mitchell trade in favor of other picks potentially, just so that they can have a hand in next year's drafts. I guess I could sort of get with that, but
I know nothing about the 23 draft other than, Wembanyama, and people say there's like, I think I was listening to your program and your thing with David Locke the other day, and Gavin was like, there's like 7 or 8 people who might have all-star upside or whatever, even though we're a year out. And so that's, if that's true or whatever, I don't know. But like, in my opinion, I have no problem getting rid of these two, because it's like, they do have a lot of youth that's like really promising that should get minutes now. And I feel like where they'll run into problems is a couple of years down the line if they like don't have any ways to improve a roster that might be like capped out at, if we're really lucky at like a conference finals level or something like that. And then when you don't have your picks, it becomes harder to improve. And by a couple of years, it could be 3 to 5 or 6, whatever. So I don't. To me, I'm less worried about these immediate picks, but maybe that's misguided of me. I'm willing to admit that.
No, I feel the same. Like the general consensus has been that NBA GMs are like head over heels with next year's draft, and like most draft Twitter people are too, and probably rightfully so. Like it seems like an awesome draft, but like the reality to me is, if the Knicks end up with Donovan Mitchell and they have Mitchell, Brunson, RJ, Mitchell Robinson, in the middle, manning the defense, like Obi Toppin, presumably at power forward if they move on from Randall. Like, I just don't see a world where that team's not going to make the playoffs. Like, I think their floor then becomes maybe the first play-in team, like the 9 seed. And that would be if things went horribly wrong, and I think their best case outcome is they like basically repeat 2021 and sort of sneak into the upper echelon of things, if things really work out. So, I have a hard time being, and I also don't see Dallas, like, as much as I think their offseason has been hilariously not that great, in large part thanks to the Knicks, which makes it that much better.
I like how they're talking about all the free agents we would typically be talking about for just washed point guards.
All these John Wall, scraping maybe? The bottom of the barrel type dudes. Yeah. But, so I don't see a world where they're bad enough to miss the playoffs either. I just, even with losing Brunson, they did get Christian Wood, who is mercurial, but he's good. So that'll be a good.
Luka's too good. They're not going to be a lottery team.
Exactly.
They're
even if they were, it's top 10 protected. Yeah, even if they were, it's top 10 protected, so you're capped. So it's like if the worst case scenario hits and like Luka gets injured or something,
he actually looked. I saw some picture where he looked like fit.
Yeah,
as well. So if he's like really dedicating himself in that way too, like he can still get better. He's young as hell. So
he hit the gym instead of the beach first thing after the season was over this year. But yeah, so I don't have any problem with dealing them. Like you said, I think that the bigger priority should be trying to hold on to as many further on picks as possible, because in this next year or two, the cap is projected to go up again, because the NBA is going to sign another new TV deal, which is apparently, I saw some projection that said that the cap might go upwards of almost like 200 million at a certain point, because like this TV deal is supposed to be so huge now, which I get. Like, there's big money to be made for the NBA. Their product has probably never been more popular than it is right now overall, thanks to the soap opera element and everything of it too. So, we'll see how that all goes. But if that's the case, like, the Knicks might have some maneuverability in the next couple of years to still add another free agent or swing another trade or whatever. I would be more concerned with holding on to those later picks, because then, as you said, gives you more ammunition for a trade down the line, or gives you an opportunity to add guys in the 20s or, the late teens or whatever,
which
that
they've
could
done
potentially,
great at.
which they have done great at, that could contribute to your team and fill out the roster later on when you're more capped out and more locked into hopefully a core that could be contending. So, I don't have a huge problem with giving up those 2 picks. If it was for a guy like Mitchell, obviously, and without giving up, again, like, you're not giving up like 8 first-round picks here. If it's like 1, maybe 2 Knicks unprotected picks, like 2023 and 2025, and then like the Dallas pick and whatever other protected picks, cool. Starts getting beyond that, then you're like, all right, no. Like this, I draw the objection more with the extra picks outside of 2023. I almost take trading 2023 as a given at this point if they want to get Mitchell.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to our next question. This one's funny. The Average Fan podcast at _, the Average Fan. Any chance Fournier is Mormon? I know a place. I wonder what place that could be. I don't think there's a good chance that Fournier is Mormon, considering I think that the greatest concentration of Mormons and perhaps only concentration of Mormons is in Utah. I don't know.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
They're missionaries, I think, so they might have some like Mexico City outpost or something.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah. But I don't know if Mormonism has made it out to France in numbers yet. So
no, I don't think.
I guess there's always a chance Fournier could convert, but I don't find it super likely.
I like Fournier, but if he's got to go, he's got to go.
He's got to go. All right. James, one last question for you, of course, in reference to your iconic Twitter handle, at the Irishman hee. Our buddy Jax365 from Twitter again wants to know, was Martin Scorsese's 2019 film, The Irishman, the last great film or the last worst film before the pandemic hit? Thanks. I'll leave this totally to you. I still haven't watched it yet.
You son of a gun. I don't want you to have to write down another timestamp. I just saw where you're writing down the timestamps of where I curse on the chair. So that is very funny. But I mean, The Irishman is unironically a masterpiece. I have no problem saying that. One day history will vindicate me if it hasn't already. If you haven't seen The Irishman, I recommend you do it immediately. There's plenty of good media out there, so I won't hate on you too hard, Alex, but it's a good one.
I mean, it's just tough to set aside like 4 hours of my life at once to watch.
Come on, how much do you spend, thinking about the Knicks every week? Think about it that way. You've already wasted like 8,000 times the length of The Irishman on this, wonderful but horrible franchise.
I guess that's very true. Maybe once we switch
and
to
the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh my God, come on! Take away like 1.5 Thors, and you can watch The Irishman.
Or if I take away one watching of Avengers Endgame, I could fit it in, I guess. But it's really important that I watch Avengers Endgame for the 14th time. I don't know if you understand this, but
I never saw that one.
I'm not surprised that you have not seen that one.
Yeah. I did watch the Infinity Stone or whatever. That was the one before that, right?
Yes, Infinity War. Yes.
Infinity War. There we go. Yeah.
And I'm sure that
dying, Mr. Stark.
How dare you mock Spider-Man?
People crying. I'm scared, Mr. Stark. Yeah, me too.
Did you know that scene was improvised? That's a fun fact.
Oh, was it? That's beautiful.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
Former improviser. That's impressive.
Tom Holland improvised that one. Anyway, James, I think we've reached the end of this discussion. It went exactly as long as I thought it would, just about an hour. We are professionals. You still got it, James. I just got to tell you still got it, buddy. Especially when it's discussion about handheld foods.
Yeah, that was really my element. And I haven't smoked weed since like 10 this morning, so I'm very sharp.
Extra impressive. James, do you have anything that you want to promote before you get off the podcast here? Maybe the newest version of NBA 2K.
Yeah, buy NBA 2K. I am the lead writer for my career, and the story this year is very fun. If you pre-order some like insane version, you even get like 3 free months of what is it called? League Pass. It's like the $150 one, but like league pass is expensive. So I don't know, whatever. I recommend having children. They really are a joy. I like to promote breeding, and that's it. And the Locked On Knicks, my favorite podcast about the Knicks.
Everybody's favorite podcast, the greatest Knicks podcast in the multiverse, as we once used to say. I have one last 2K question. Are you going to be in 2K still as one of the random high school players you play against in my career as you're on your way up the ladder to the league?
Yeah, not this year.
Hilariously, there was like a huge, enormous center named James Marceda that I was playing against a couple of years ago. And I was like, I know that guy. Doesn't look much like him.
It was funny because, I play the game a lot before it gets released, like looking for bugs and stuff. And like they really nerfed him before release. I could not be stopped before the game came out. And they were like, all right, James is a little too strong. We need to chill out. I was like, come on, guys.
Come on, keep letting me get my triple doubles.
They're actually they're very cool about when new people join the team, they'll use their names a lot. And it's just because for me, it was so fun to hear, actual announcers use my name, and that was a real trip. So someone asked before, I think it was Mikey, if 2K treats people well, and they do. I'm here to
all right. Well, that's as good a note to end on as any.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody, for listening in to Locked On Knicks. Hope you enjoyed this visit with old host James Marceda, forever my GOAT of Locked On Knicks podcast host. So thank you all for listening. We'll have more episodes coming your way as this Donovan Mitchell train keeps rolling, as this offseason train keeps rolling. We'll keep bringing on some good guests, having some more mailbag discussions. I think we're going to have another mailbag guest next week as well to get into some of the more questions that you guys asked. But if anybody still finds himself with questions to ask, of course, look on Twitter. It's not too far back in our tweets, and go and send us a mailbag question, because we'll definitely answer it on an episode next week. But until next time, thank you all for listening. Talk to you all soon. Peace out.